Most gurus will recommend Alibaba, but I've discovered that my best suppliers with whom I'm working with for many years weren't found through Alibaba. And this approach gave me a significant advantage in this business. In our previous video, we discussed how to find the right product to sell on Amazon FBA. If you haven't watched that video yet, or if you're unsure what to sell, I strongly recommend you watching it now. Because the first rule when it comes to source a new product is having a clear idea of what you're looking for. Without this clarity, navigating the vast manufacturing world will be extremely overwhelming. The most common and beginner-friendly way to source new products is through the internet. There are numerous platforms to find new suppliers, and one of the more prominent ones is Alibaba. Alibaba aims to connect a vast network of manufacturers with buyers worldwide, and I too started finding my first products on Alibaba. To get started, you'll need to create an account so you can reach out to various profiles on Alibaba. But I strongly recommend not using your own everyday personal email address. You'll get spammed for the rest of your days. Instead, create a dedicated email address specifically for your sourcing activities. Once you have that set up, it's important to have a strategy in mind on how to approach potential suppliers. Keep in mind that Chinese sellers receive price inquiries from numerous buyers on a daily basis, and many of these are just tire kickers. People who ask questions, request samples, ask prices, but actually never make a purchase. While it's crucial to remain honest in your dealings with suppliers, you can present yourself in a way that doesn't mark you as a complete beginner. This means having some knowledge about the product you're gonna sell, so it's essential to do some homework and be well prepared when engaging potential sellers. If I were a beginner, my email would look like this. Hi, I'm Anton and I sell products in the US. I came across your product and had a question. Is it possible to manufacture the product with hook and loop closure, also known as Velcro, instead of zippers? I'm also interested in learning more about your pricing and MOQ. This product would be the flagship item for a completely new brand, so we are in the early research phase. You can respond to me here on Alibaba, or you can reach out via email at anton@lemonade.com. Thanks in advance. Keep it short and use simple English. People don't want to waste time with long emails. Also maintain a friendly tone. It might sound obvious, but I heard a lot of stories of Chinese sellers being treated very rudely. By being friendly, you're more likely to receive help when you need it in the long run. I also recommend adding a specific question about a product in your initial email to test the seller's responsiveness. If they don't respond, there's a good chance that they might not be the actual manufacturers, or they might not be open to modifications. Additionally, do some due diligence. Ensure that the supplier is legit and won't run off with your money. Check how long they've been active on Alibaba and if they're verified. If a supplier doesn't reply or seems uninterested, just move on. There are tons of suppliers eager to collaborate with you, so don't get frustrated early in the process. Keep in mind that China is a vast country with very few English-speaking people, and some of them have recognized this and created an Alibaba profile pretending to be a business. In reality, they just source their products from other Chinese companies, and if your Chinese is good enough, you can directly source products on 1688.com, which is another platform, but it's entirely in Chinese. If you don't speak Chinese and you choose to source on this website, it will be very challenging, not only to find the product you need, but also to communicate to suppliers. This is why many profiles on Alibaba function as intermediaries between Western buyers and Chinese sellers. Naturally, you'd prefer to work with a manufacturer, so try to determine if you're dealing with a middleman. Are the products they offer on their profile related to each other? Do they require high minimum order quantity? Does it take a long time to get a response on product-related questions? If so, you might be dealing with a middleman. However, be aware that sometimes a middleman can actually provide better options than manufacturers. Regardless of your choice, in the long run, you will want to collaborate with a genuine manufacturer. Finding the right fit can take time, so exercise patience in your search. Another effective method for finding suppliers is by attending trade fairs. This is not often discussed by gurus because it's not something you can easily figure out behind your PC. Trade fairs or trade exhibitions are organized events from a specific niche where professionals come together to showcase their products. And there's a ton of trade shows all over the world. The most famous one is probably Canton Fair in China, but there are often numerous trade shows closer to your home with overseas suppliers. And these local options can save you a lot on travel expenses. Many of my long-term supplier relationships were initiated on trade fairs. I can easily say that these relations are significantly stronger than those I never met in person. Additionally, you can inspect the products on the spot, gaining an immediate understanding of their quality. Trade fairs also serve as a valuable source of information for new ideas. Many companies use these events to showcase their latest product, which can be a valuable source of inspiration for your own product development. I've personally benefited from this, as I've added small modifications to my products that I saw on trade shows. These discoveries, once developed further by me, have led to superior products. Find trade fairs in your area. Just do a Google search by entering your niche followed by trade fair or trade show. Keep in mind that depending on your location, you might need to travel a bit to attend these events. Suppliers typically respond to you with a price along with MOQ, which stands for minimum order quantity. MOQ can vary, ranging from 50 pieces till 5,000. When you're just starting out, I recommend aiming as the lowest MOQ as possible. You can explain to your supplier that it's a test order for a new brand you're developing, which is actually true. If you find the price or the quantity unfavorable, don't hesitate to find other options. Chinese suppliers will aim to maximize their deals, so it's important to negotiate from a position of strength. Always negotiate. If you're not satisfied with the initial offer, don't be afraid to explore other options. I've experienced situations where suppliers, in an attempt to secure the deal, suddenly found ways to lower the price and the MOQ in my favor. So don't hesitate to engage in negotiations to get the best possible terms for your business. Before your order, there's some small things you have to discuss with your supplier. Request samples to assess quality and ensure the offer meets your expectations. Ask about the lead time for manufacturing your order. Also, be proactive in proposing payment terms in your favor. Suppliers often prefer down payments when ordering and the remainder before shipping. You can suggest 20 or 30% down payment, but your supplier might also want 50%. Negotiating on this might seem not important, but managing your cash flow will be crucial in the long run. Wire transfer is the most commonly used payment method. PayPal is typically avoided because it's expensive and it's not popular among Chinese companies. Also, make sure to check Amazon's packaging requirements and dimensions. Oversized packages will lead to increased costs, so make sure your supplier uses packaging that keeps your product in the smallest product tier. It happened to me more than once that my supplier used bigger poly bags, which resulted in higher shipping costs and lower margins. Not every supplier is familiar with Amazon's requirements. Additionally, be aware of any specific product requirement from Amazon, which can be found on their website. Have your supplier handle these aspects rather than dealing with them after your goods have arrived at the Amazon warehouse. Besides that, it's also important to consult Amazon's guidelines regarding packaging. Typically, your packaging should include essential information, such as a product name, a brief description, your logo, website, any choking hazards if applicable, the product's origin, and more. Additionally, make sure that no other brands are visible on the product. It's also important for your customers to easily identify your brand, even when they're using the product and taking it out of the packaging. So make sure that your branding is prominently visible, not just on the packaging, but also on the product itself. So to sum up, source your product on Alibaba, stay brief and friendly, do due diligence, aim for a long-term cooperation, or find suppliers through trade shows. Request MOQ, price, lead time, and eventual modifications. If this looks good for you, propose payment terms. Brand your products, check Amazon packaging requirements, make sure the product is ready to be sold with FBA when it leaves the factory. If you follow these steps correctly, you've now placed your order and are waiting for the goods to be ready. In the next video, we'll delve into the process of shipping these products to an Amazon warehouse.